a federal budget deal that bans hemp-derived THC products in Illinois and nationwide. It's got a ton of buzz. An executive director of the Cannabis Business Association of Illinois, Tiffany Ingram, is joining me now to talk a little bit about what's going on here and react to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, okay. So let me just ask you first and foremost your reaction to the new announcement.
Well, we're definitely very pleased to see the loophole closed, given the things that we've seen happen as a result of the loophole. So we're very pleased and thankful for what Congress was able to do.
So let's talk about which products would actually be banned, because I'm hearing that some things would not, some things would. Give us the breakdown of the types of things that would or would not be a part of this ban.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So what Congress's actions essentially do is make clear that there is a clear line between what constitutes as hemp, which is traditionally associated with non-intoxicating items like CBD, or industrial hemp that's used for, sort of products and clothing, right? Or your tinctures for wellness. So they created a bright line of what that means, and that's 0.4 milligrams is the amount. Now, if you're above that line, you are now considered cannabis. You're a cannabis product, and that wasn't clear before, and they've made that clear with the actions that they took this week. Mm-hmm. And so what that means is that items that you see in sort of like your Delta 8s and your synthetic cannabis, those things are no longer in this legal gray area that the federal loophole had allowed during that time.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard the governor's reaction to this? Because I listened to him. He, of course, has been strongly advocating for more regulation here when it comes to some of these products, especially Delta 8, as I understand it. So have you heard his reaction to this, and what were your thoughts on his statements?
Well, we've appreciated the statements that he's made on addressing this issue in Illinois. The governor has been very vocal about his concern about how these products are accessible to children, create customer confusion, and actually on the worst end, land people in some pretty precarious situations as far as not feeling well or having to go to the emergency room because of what's put in these products. And so he's been an advocate of supporting reining this industry in. And I think Congress has made that a lot easier to do so.
Some businesses, and you are with the Cannabis Business Association of Illinois, so some businesses have said that this is going to offset or to set off an existential crisis, essentially. Do you see it that way?
Thank you for the question. I think what you're referring to, I think that's a very good description. So what Congress did do is they allowed for a year transition period. So, these items, unless the state governments decide that they want to start doing enforcement or other activities now, these businesses have in sort of like a year transition period to transition their business out or in compliance, depending on the jurisdiction, right? Mm-hmm. With that said, we believe that there are going to be some product dumping because folks, have inventory and they need to get rid of that inventory so they don't lose, revenue. And so, our fear is that the Illinois market in particular will be inundated with a lot of these products that are not tested, or have any accurate labeling. None of those requirements are there, so it's unclear what they are. We think there'll be a lot more of them, unless there's action done at the state level.
Yeah, there were several small and minority-owned businesses that the owners who spoke out about essentially being locked out of the market. Do you think this will affect them even more negatively?
So, if I understand your question correctly, when you say minority-owned businesses, are you referring to the social equity
Correct.
license holders under the CRTA? So, yeah, there are. So, what Illinois did was that it created a limited license state, right? So, there is a small, there's a limited license of licensees that were able to access the industry. There are other states that have allowed for a more expansive, unlimited license state, which means like if you meet the criteria, then you can operate, right? But what that means in Illinois, because it was a limited license state, and because of the intensity, the cost intensity of operating these sorts of businesses, it was very challenging for a lot of folks to get into this business. Both folks that were, qualify under social equity, right? Because these are still very cash intensive businesses. We are regulate, we're extreme, we're involved in a great deal of complicated, very expensive regulation. Um, we also are taxed at some of the highest levels. This makes it very difficult for businesses, especially social equity businesses that are in this market or even wanted or are still trying to get in this market to be able to flourish. It's the structure of the business that's really making it hard for people to be a part of the cannabis industry because of the regulation and the taxation.
So then this ban could actually help many of those businesses.
If so, I hear your question in two ways. So for businesses that are currently operating, for social equity businesses that are currently in a space, depending on how the state deals with this interim period, it may result in some relief from the competition of you know folks selling very similar things or things that are analogs to cannabis. It that factors in. It does not help them in the sense that they still have to endure a great deal of taxation and a great deal of regulations that they have to adhere to as good actors under the cannabis laws of Illinois. So depending on how the state addresses this, it will still be very challenging to operate a cannabis business in Illinois.
Gotcha. So how popular are these hemp products and how intoxicating are they?
Oh, I love that question. So I was I was just at a Wake and Bakery because I'd never been to one. I wanted to see what they were selling. I saw a Rice Krispie treat for 100 milligrams. Licensed cannabis businesses they have a potency cap of how much they can sell. And so you see a lot of really high potency products in the hemp market. To answer your question about popularity, these products are popular in so much that because licensed cannabis products are so very expensive due to the taxes, there's a price point where people are going to start shopping in alternative markets, which could be the hemp market or going to Michigan to get cheaper product. And so that also affects our social equity licensees here in Illinois and frankly, anyone in the cannabis business in Illinois. And so these products are widely popular also based on, consumer confusion about what constitutes a dispensary, because many of these places will even say cannabis dispensary when that's not actually, in fact, a licensed cannabis dispensary. So we hope it does clarify, but we're very, very concerned and on high alert about this interim year period because that really relies on, what our policymakers decide how they will approach this.
Very interesting, and a lot hangs in the balance for so many people. Thank you so much. Again, Tiffany Ingram, Executive Director for the Cannabis Business Association of Illinois. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.